Hey, what's going on, you lovely people? Let's do this. Victor Jara, first time reaction. Very important Chilean artist. Unfortunately, he went through a dramatic end. He was shot dead because he was caught by the, at the time, political regime, which they didn't take so lightly, people trying to overthrow them through art, which this is unfortunately the sad story of so many great artists which try to oppose a regime. Either they were censored, silenced, and in this case, like killed, which is just insane in the world of today. Yet we're still going through insane times, which what is happening now in Ukraine with Russia, which can affect all of us. I just also want to quickly just point out something yesterday in the video of Residente that we did. I had a massive headache, so I was trying not to move too much, and I still have it a little bit. So some people immediately, well, just haters. I shouldn't even be addressing haters, but sometimes, you know, it just pisses me off that there is always somebody that tries to extrapolate something they see in the video and accusing you. Which I find absolutely insane, and just rubbed me the wrong way today, because of course, being accused of stuff, especially for somebody that it's reacting for already 2 years to most Latin American artists, learning about the culture through the music. Of course, I don't know everything there is to know. I just don't. I don't pretend to. I'm just sharing some thoughts, and I'm open to learn. But to be accused, you know, on the face of looking in a certain way because I looked, you know, bored or disinterested when you don't know what is happening, it's absolutely silly. But anyway, let's check this out together. Victor Jara, Manifiesto. Let's go. Bam. Wow, so there was a coup. Jesus, man. Was brutally beaten and shot 44 times. 44 times? Are you freaking serious? 44 times? What freaking, like, sick minds? Wow, man.
Yo no canto por cantar, ni por tener buena voz. Canto porque la guitarra tiene sentido y razón.
Oh, such a nice classical piece in that way. Also, I actually disagree with you. You have a very nice voice. You had a very lovely voice. And I just like all the, you know, the bass and the intricate guitars already.
Tiene corazón de tierra y alas de palomita.
Oh, beautiful, man. Beautiful. I like this phrase. I like this phrase, like a heart made of ground. But I wonder if it's a something positive, art made of hurt, you know, like I'm attached to the ground, as if in the ground the soil that provides, you know, and the water and the wings like a dove, which is also a sign of peace.
Es como el agua bendita, santigua glorias y penas. Aquí se encajó mi canto, como dijera Violeta.
Man, what a nice song.
Guitarra trabajadora, con olor a primavera.
Nice range also, the voice. Na 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 na. Wow, all the way down, you know, in this lower part of the register.
que no es guitarra de rico, ni cosa que se parezca. Mi canto es de los andamios para alcanzar las estrellas. Que el canto tiene sentido cuando palpiten las venas del que morirá cantando las verdades verdaderas, no las lisonjas fugaces ni las famas extranjeras.
Wow, man, especially knowing a little bit what happened, of course, to read those words, you know, to feel the music and to read those words seems like almost a premonition, you know, that he knew what it would happen to him by opposing somehow, you know, through, because of course, like the dictatorship was also in Brazil, was also in Argentina, so like the first thing you go through is censorship of artists, you know, like only the ones which they're kind of affiliated with the government, and so will be thriving most likely, and everybody that has a voice of dissent or try to you know, like saying something against will be silenced. So I suppose maybe somehow he felt, you know, maybe that some of those things could affect him, and it did, unfortunately. If I remember correctly, we're talking here in Chile of Pinochet, and of course, wow. Yeah, I mean, you know, I look at what is happening today, and I just hope things don't escalate, because it seems like things repeat, you know. I also understand, like, briefly also talk about, you know, also in Italy, the leftist movement and the Communist Party became quite relevant in the from the 50s on, after the war, of course, for good reason, in the sense that a country like Italy that went through fascism and you know, all of that, of course people were looking for alternatives, and at the time it seemed to offer that kind of alternative, the Communist Party. So a lot of artists, a lot of people in the arts kind of were attracted to that, and I suppose also in Chile and in South America. Myself, growing up, of course, in the 80s and then 90s, being a teenager, I was also leaning more towards the left, liberal left, you know. But then when you grow up, you also understand, you know, like where it comes from the, you know, the Russian Communist Party and the infiltration they were trying to do in Europe. So I mean, it's always complicated, this stuff, you know. It's always complicated in the moment, at the time, as an alternative to what was happening, especially in South America with all those dictators. I think it made a lot of sense, especially from a point of view of citizens, of people. You know, I'm not talking about those which had interest in keeping the power because perhaps they were already wealthy. So wealthy people, they always want to keep their wealth. But from the side of the proletariat, you know, from the working class, it makes a ton of sense, and I totally understand that. So, but at the same time, I also know that some of you pointed out to the fact that there was this whole campaign of dictators in South America was also hated by, at the time, Kissinger and the United States of America government. So was funded, it seems, but I don't know all the details, of course. I'm just reading some stuff. So yeah, there is that, and but honestly, I wonder how, you know, like a lot of those countries, they seem to have been kind of freer for quite some time. How has it developed? you know, with new political parties, people being elected, you know. So that's actually interesting to know, because of course there's many decades of people going to vote and choosing for their representative. I wonder what has done that to the countries, like, I don't know, Ecuador or Bolivia, Venezuela, like more Central America or poorer countries, even Chile and Peru, you know. So very interesting. Of course, I know a little bit more about Brazil, but yeah.
Sino el canto de una lonja hasta el fondo de la tierra.
5,000 people. What do you mean? It's like already 5,000 in the stadium in Pisa?
Ahí donde llega
It's fucking insane.
y donde todo comienza. Canto que ha sido valiente, siempre será canción nueva. Siempre será canción nueva. Siempre será canción nueva.
Wow. In a way, I also like a little bit the Johnny Cash vibe. Thank you, Anthony Rault, for the translation. I really enjoyed this discovery, finding out such a relevant figure in the cultural, you know, as a cultural symbol of Chile. I wonder how much is known also outside, of course, of Chile. That would be interesting to know, because I know, for instance, that a lot of big bands from both Mexico and also a lot of from Argentina, they're quite popular in the rest of South America. I know because I've done many reaction to so many artists like Soda Stereo, Charlie Garcia, Fito Paez. So I know few, and those are also big. I know they're also big in neighboring countries. So I wonder, you know, like how Victor Jara is perceived around. That would be kind of, I'm curious, because this is the first time. Really, it's the first time that people suggest this, because also the video Residente. So I'm actually quite surprised, because very legit, man. It's also fascinating to see that every country has their kind of folk symbol, you know, hero. They really understood the moment of the people's voice, you know, and they give people's voice at that moment, and it's really beautiful to learn, you know. Like as you know, it blows my mind also, like referring to some people comments yesterday on the video Residente, you know, that I look at things from a point of view of privilege and disinterest. I mean, totally nonsense. When I spent the last couple of years actually trying to learn about artists from around the world, I can tell you that Indonesia has Iwan Fals, which is a great folk, still alive, fortunately, hero, an artist. In Argentina, you have people like Charlie Garcia, which he has gone through so many iterations as a basically genius musician. In Brazil, you have Chico Barque, for instance, just or Milton Nascimento, just to name a few, you know. So you learn a few things. I wonder if you actually were aware of those names. Some of you, of course. So anyway, guys, this was a lovely discovery. Yeah, still a little bit of headache. So I'll get better in a couple of days, hopefully. And always spread love. I'll talk to you later.